Welcome to another episode on Erase Rap. My name is Noah Battle. I am the entertainment editor of The Wave.
My name is Lola Green. I'm the opinions editor of The Wave.
And I'm Lauren Riley, and I'm the executive editor of The Wave.
Welcome back to our podcast, Ms. G. We wanted to start this podcast not only by thanking you for joining us today, but also for your dedication to being such an inspiring role model for us all. We are truly lucky to have you in our lives.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for having me.
Just starting off with a few basic questions to, get the viewers to know you a little bit better. What initially, started your education, your career in education?
It was all accidental. So nothing was planned. I had a business degree and was working in marketing, PR, a little bit of advertising, and then had my kids, and when they were little in elementary school, I started volunteering in the school, and I spent a lot of time around kids then, so I started hanging around more and more, but I had no interest in education whatsoever. There wasn't really an interest. It just, and that's one of the things, like life just kind of leads you one path to another, and you're kind of like, it's not really something you're thinking about. It just kind of leads you that way, and next thing you know, so I was volunteering in the school. I saw and I always knew how important education was. It was always very important to my family, but it was something completely accidental. So then I was volunteering a lot, which I started subbing when we moved down here. So I started subbing in MICMS back, it was year 3. So they were in the portables there. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And so it was year 3 there. I started subbing, and another teacher got sick with cancer. And I ended up finishing the whole year for that teacher. And so I started getting to know the kids, and it was a lot better because once you know the kids and you can have a relationship and things like that. So I just started really liking it. I saw the growth. It was actually a special ed classroom full of smelly little middle school boys. They were in 6th grade. I'll never forget them. They were pretty awful, and but I liked them, even smelly and all. And so one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, they asked me to come back, teach part-time the next year, and I went back to school, and there you go.
So you kind of say that it wasn't always your path to be a teacher. You just kind of fell into the role and loved it.
You're right, and that's the thing. Even getting your degree and thinking you know what you want to do. Yeah, I keep saying. I always say to you guys, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up because things will change, and you don't know what It could be life circumstances or something you never even thought about doing, and you get exposed to something, and you're like, So yeah.
You mentioned how you weren't always sure that you wanted to be a teacher, so were there any defining moments in your journey that solidified your decision to becoming a teacher?
It was actually that year at the middle school, and not only with that full year, we had actually 2 teachers at the middle school with cancer. It was a rough year.
Oh my gosh.
And I saw how their relationships were with the kids, and much like this school, back in the day, very much a close-knit school and all that, and that culture, that connectedness, that, very much was like a family atmosphere, especially, back in the portable days and stuff where everybody was just scrapping for some respect because, everybody wanted to treat you less than from other schools and things because you're in portable, so therefore you can't be, you can't be as good as us, you can't be as smart as us, although we all know it has nothing to do with the building. Even though we are in a beautiful building, it has nothing to do with the building. And so that culture was really important, and everybody really rallied around them. Mr. Totten and I did a fundraiser for them for cancer. We got slimed that year, all kinds of stuff. It was it was all that, being a part of all that.
Right.
So everyone has their definition of a good teacher, whether they educate their students or have a relationship with them. So what would your definition of a good teacher be?
It's very long. it's very long, and I can't even say that. I think that you can learn to be a good teacher because, like, I'm a perfect example of somebody who had no background in it whatsoever. And I think that it's something that you can learn. I think, the first thing is empathy, understanding that kids are kids, and you can't always take things personal, even though you guys can put a knife through our hearts at times. Try to connect, try to laugh, try to be a real human being and just, like, share experiences, like, letting it, that we have emotions the same as you guys have it. Looking at the overall picture, overall growth, praising them. Also, organization and structure, I think, are really important with classroom management. If you don't have classroom management, it's not good. It's really not good. So, communicating those expectations so much that everybody knows what they are. So, like, when I'm gone, subs generally don't have problems in my classroom because it's structured and everybody knows what to do, and I tell you guys what to do before I'm out, and so you know what to expect, so everybody's kind of on the same page. And being patient and just forgiving too, because we all have our days, and that's what's going to happen. But that's it. Communicating.
I think being a good teacher is so important because students spend so much time of their lives at school.
Yeah.
So it really does set you up for your entire future. Like, even your first grade teacher, what she taught you and how she treated you, it sets you up for the rest of your life.
Absolutely, for sure. It gives you that confidence to go on. But even, like, you think about it. You guys are busy. Do you always spend an hour and a half every day with your parents?
That's true. I feel like some days you might even spend, like, more time with the teacher than you
true.
would.
Definitely.
Like,
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Going back to your days when you were in the middle school teaching your first year to even now, how do you think education has changed from those so many years?
It's definitely the emphasis on test. The emphasis on test. Increased, you have to pay so much more attention to mental health. And, pressures are on students and teachers. I think parents are generally more busy. There used to be more that, one parent would be around more than others. I think kids truly have less of an attention span. The TikTok brain is real, like
I'm
it
a victim
really
of
is.
it. I'm a victim.
No, it really is. The brain rot is absolutely there. I mean,
true.
and for us too, because it's like, it's everything has to be done. If you don't get somebody's attention quickly and hold it, we all want instant gratification. We get frustrated really easily. But I really think that, the testing, the mental health, the stress, I mean, from when I started to now, it's so different, really different. Use of electronic devices for all of us. I mean, it's, asking somebody to handwrite notes when you're trying to teach.
I feel like there was such a fast shift after quarantine with the technology. I think that's when it really started to go downhill for so many of us, and especially now the past year with AI and having to worry about if somebody's plagiarizing their work, not really even being able to tell because it's a computer writing it. It's not even they're getting it from a human anymore. So it's just been really, I think it's going downhill. Like, from a student perspective, I think it's going downhill just with all the technology.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah. I think that we rely on it so much, and and guilty. I used to be able to, that 10,000 years of world history, I used to be able to rattle off those dates like crazy. I'm like, Google, what, or look it up, because I don't need to remember it anymore.
It's like the paradox of convenience. It's super.
It's just made people, like,
so
lazier.
I know,
at least for me, it's made me lazier.
Me too.
We're just so reliant on everyone else for, like,
but
things we should know, like you were saying.
To what point does convenience become harmful?
Right.
Going back to what you were saying before, you were speaking about how, you took on some leadership positions when we were in the portables, and since then you have taken on so many more positions, like teacher, mentor, advisor of Key Club, the History and Culture Club, and you're the chairperson for the Humanities Department. Are there any specific obstacles that you have crossed while taking on so many of these roles, and how have you overcome them?
It was really, initially it was pretty hard because there weren't many teachers here. I mean, it's still a small school, but there weren't many people here. So if you wanted something to go, you had to start it yourself. And what I found was I wanted to help build it and make it happen. So I did do a bunch of stuff that first year. The first year the school opened, I actually came here as a cheer coach, but I didn't come to teach until 2 years later. And I had 5 cheerleaders. We had 6 basketball players. So we put them together. And we had a whole team. Oh. I'm like, put the girls out there because the boys would foul out. It was over. So they couldn't
that's
play.
Crazy.
Yeah, we had 5 girls and 6 boys. It was hilarious. Wow. We didn't even need a whole bus to go to the game. But anyway, so I came for that, and I actually started NHS as well.
Wow.
Key Club was a bit of an accident again, and look at how big of a part of my life it's become. That was an accident because they were just meeting in my room, and there was about 6 kids or so, and they were meeting with people from Kiwanis advisor from the community, and I was watching them meet, and they were a mess. It was just a mess. I mean, it was a brand new school. It was only year 3 of school. And at the end of the year, so I was just supposed to be the host of the room, and so I would, at the end of the year, I said, you know what? If I'm going to be the teacher supervising you, then we're going to do some things differently. Like, this is not going to.
You're whipping them into shape.
Yeah, exactly. This is way too disorganized. You don't know what's going on, and so I said, this is what we're going to do. So as time went on, and then there actually was a humanities department because there was me, and then there was also the old assistant principal who taught also a history course. She only taught 1, so it just evolved into this. Finally we started getting a second teacher, full-time, full department, and then it was, I got to let some things go. So I let cheer go. I let NHS go. Key Club was a huge thing. And by now, we'd started the trips. So History and Culture Club was a big thing starting, I think, in 2016. So it just grew. So the more it grew, I focused on the things that gave me joy. And that was Key Club and History and Culture Club, and stayed with those because cheerleading was 9 months a year, and it was exhausting. I couldn't be a good teacher. I actually chose because I loved coaching, but I actually chose because I could not be a good teacher and do what I was supposed to do with ACE and everything else, and coach as well. It's too many nights a week.
Okay, well, that is a wrap on our Raise Wrap. Thank you so much again for joining us, and happy retirement.
Oh, God.